Hey everyone, what is up? I hope you can hear me okay. So we're talking about the North Node in Taurus and South Node in Scorpio in this video, and this is one of those, I guess, more esoteric and multidimensional perspectives on this aspect. So I'm not necessarily going to go too much into like mundane astrology or like basic astrology. This is more so going to be about the starseed energy as well as multidimensional embodiment, because the multidimensional embodiment is something that has really come through this transit a lot to me. And I will also be sharing some downloads that I had on the full moon in Taurus in November, because I had some really weird downloads on that full moon as sort of a preview to what this nodal transit is going to be about. So, uh, of course, as with everything, there is going to be some part that is going to be kind of reflected in our daily lives, of course. So that's kind of the only way in which I will discuss that part. But just remember that this is mostly focused around uh, maybe a more spiritual, esoteric side of things. So, uh, yeah, as I already saw Bella say hello here in the live chat. So for anyone who is joining, feel free to chat in the live chat box. And I also hope that my internet is going to be okay. I'm like not completely shitty, because I need to have my phone here because I have a lot of my notes on my phone, and then also like a huge piece of paper of notes that I wrote just last night. And then my guides were kind of just like, okay, you don't need to go live in the middle of the night to share this. You can kind of just wait for the next day and go when the sunlight is still happening. So we have nice lighting now, and hopefully that will do the quality well. Okay, so some of these things that I was writing down on the full moon, because that full moon was conjunct the fixed star Algol, which usually we don't think of that star as something very positive. Usually it kind of gets a bad reputation. Um, but I feel like it gets that because, first of all, the old astrology was based on, you know, well, first of all, it was very predictive, but it was also based on, I guess, more earthy concerns. There was not much nuance, right? Like, uh, I don't know, like, I'm not sure what the spiritual mind of the past people was. Like, of course, there has always been those people who have been very tuned in and very tapped into the spiritual source of everything. But without going on a ramble about that, let's get into what's here, because I do always see nuance and I do always see positive even in the challenging parts, because they do help us grow and again deal with those challenges themselves. Like, it's not like uh, a challenge will always be a bad thing, especially if someone has only had a very easy life. Uh, then that challenge might feel a lot more hard, but it also can help that person to grow. Wi-Fi is acting up. Yeah, I really hope that my internet is also good, right? I really hope that that's the case. But the what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't want to focus too much on Mercury retrograde, but that is a fact that planet is retrograde right now. So we can't really ignore that either. But we know what in our human world, Mercury retrograde can sometimes too. And actually, I should make a whole video about retrogrades, because I just found out that actually retrogrades are the right way for planets to go when we think about spiritually speaking. So it is the more spiritual way that the planet, interestingly enough, maybe want to dive into that later. Oh, they help us grow. Yeah, that's true. Oh, it's good to hear that I'm still clear and not like that bad internet connection, you know. And so yeah, that was a bit of a ramble for for the beginning. I hope that we still have enough light. Okay. Yeah, that was just because I moved, I guess. Anyway, what this shift will of course call attention to is what our Taurus placements are built on, or rather contained in. So this is one of those things that came through for the full moon in November, because sometimes our placements can feel contained. They can feel contained, conditioned, even. I mean, one of the things that I wrote here on my paper last night was about conditioned love and conditional love. So that's just some of the themes that we're going to go into. But staying on the topic here, the South Node will also purge and heal any conditioned parts in. So if you have any planets in Scorpio over the next about 18 months or so, I think it was something. I'm trying to remember what the date was. I think it was May or July 2023 that this transit is happening, but I'm just having a hard time remembering if it was May or July for whatever reason. Like that's just what I'm remembering in 2023, that the node shift will finish. So through that time, we're gonna have just the node very quickly moving through Taurus and Scorpio. And the South Node, of course, is in Scorpio, always opposite the North Node. So that's why we are healing and purging any conditioned parts in Scorpio, so that we can of course find ourselves in the highest function of Taurus and the highest way of those planets to be working. So that's kind of the, I would say, first thing to keep in mind. Sun sign Scorpio, Sag, and Cancer. That's cool. What degree? Do you remember what degree your sun is in? Because I might want to get back to that later. And I feel like with anyone who has the sun in Scorpio, they're going to have a part of themselves kind of deconditioned. They're going to go in a self-reflection journey, basically. I feel like that might be happening. And maybe any like damaged soul fractals might be cleared and healed, you know. I feel like that's what some Scorpio placements are going to be going through. And then one quite interesting thing that came through is ripping away. We will be ripping away the head of the monster that has brushed us before. Okay, so this is one of those a bit weird parts of this, because what I mean by way the head deeper into. So that's one of the things that. So the good thing here is that we will have the power and the energy and the trust, as well as the strength to go through this. But It might not be easy because often we do in fact feel scared about these things. We do often feel intimidated by these things. So that's why we might have some, situations, I guess. If I already am, I'd have to look it up. Love to catch up on Facebook soon. Getting ready to sell my place here, being super busy. Oh yeah, it sounds like it. Because like I know that selling apartments and stuff is like busy stuff and it's a lot of work. Okay, and so what I then mean by this cutting off the heads of those monsters, you're finding the source, like where did this come from, and you're just getting rid of it. And that way you don't necessarily have to deal with that issue anymore. And then again, chasing away the demons and goals, just getting rid of them for good. So it is a very detoxifying transit in that sense. And what I also wrote here is win your wars and face your fears, or maybe win your battles. But win your wars sounds a little bit more poetic, I guess. So that's what I wrote there. So yeah, it's about some, deeper, I guess, deeper self-empowerment work, but it's more so focused on the shadow sides of it. But then, of course, we're also warned about, it's more about the ascension path, of course, and the Christ itself, and the sort of crystalline self, crystalline energy. So what was on that video was about finding the balance, and how some people kind of might fall into on just the one end where we kind of worship the spiritual part but not the human part, and whereas then the other side is being super materialistic and the spiritual part. So because when it comes to the south node, that south node is of course this is something where we might, of course, loop, we might go overboard, we might even go to extremes, because we're talking about Scorpio energy. And this is something that can keep us stuck. So if we stay stuck and kind of let ourselves be too much in the spirit and not necessarily balancing everything, coming to the middle, finding the middle path, that's when things can, of course, you can technically become intoxicated by either end of the spectrum. So that's something to keep in mind. And in a way, something will die, something will end, but afterwards there will be rebirth. Scorpio suggests, where do we need to merge deeper versus where do our efforts need to be more tangible? And that's some good questions to, of course, ask for whatever is being transited by these two. Taurus being more tangible efforts, and Scorpio being the super deep purge and detoxification. And then we get to like even more weird stuff, like the embodiment part. This was like really, yeah, I wasn't really even sure if I wanted to share this to anybody else, but here I am because it's important. I think people need to be aware of this. So I think we're coming into this collective awareness of energetic embodiment as well as quantum mechanics. And I wrote that this equals to quantum embodiment. And there's more about this. Like one of the things from Andromedans that came through was kind of reference into this one. And then this concept of astral electrons. This is where I'm getting super nerdy, because like when I was studying chemistry, when I was doing my A-levels several years ago, there was a quantum physics class for our chemistry course. Now I didn't do so well in like the final test of chemistry, because there was a lot of math, and I would have been better at math if I had really trained myself, but I didn't. Maybe, I don't know if it was because of people around me were not good at math. I mean, honestly, that's one thing to keep in mind. Who you're surrounded by makes a big difference. Again, because the quantum physics class was so fascinating to me. It just got my brain cells into like, oh my god, I love it. Hope you're all seeing me okay and hearing me okay, because my laptop keeps on saying that it's a bad connection. So I just hope it's not. And so yeah, this kind of goes into that, but then there's also something to say about extrasensory perception from a body awareness level. And like a lot of people don't speak about ESP anymore. They tend to speak about intuition or like clairs and stuff. That's what we tend to see in the communication at this point. But this came through because we are talking about this as in body awareness level. So what does energy feel like in the body? And this is something that I've just been feeling for over a year, like well over a year into my multidimensional embodiment and my spiritual work. I have started to feel energy on my body a lot. And sometimes it's a bit intense, sometimes it's a bit painful, especially when people have some problems. When people have some problems and they want to throw it at me, that's when it gets really intense. And even fall 2020, I think this was October maybe, or November, when I experienced one of my first experiences of psychic attacks. So what happened was I got bruises on my leg, and there is just no other way that they could have come, because nothing happened the night before. I mean the day before. And so then when I woke up, I just had these bruises on my leg. And I remember that I did experience psychic attack that night. So I just had to, again, get rid of it and learn how to get rid of it. And I also feel like sometimes we experience psychic attacks so that we can know what it feels like. So then we can make a difference. Like, okay, is this me? Is this somebody else? Is this something different? Is my body acting up? But yeah, I feel like especially for those of us who are starseeds, we might become a lot more sensitive in our body for energetic shifts, and we might start to feel our energy fields, our personal energy fields in our bodies as well. So how does different energy feel like in the body? How does my special guest Orgonite feel in the body? It feels interesting. It's super powerful. It was on sale, so I had to get it. Oh my god! And I don't do it that often. Like, I have to be honest, I don't do it that often, where I just get a crystal on sale. Anyway, another thing was about psychokinesis. This is kind of, I was just researching stuff, and so the psychokinesis is about impacting objects with psychic powers and energy. And then, just to explain this further, telekinesis is creating psychokinetic phenomena from a distance. So then you would impact an object from a distance. And micropsychokinesis is changing the chemical structure of object with psychic powers. And that sounds a lot like speaking to water to me. And even when I was quite early on my spiritual journey, I knew about this thing about speaking to water, that how it changes the chemical components of the water, like how it kind of changes the energy that is held in water. So that's something that came through quite strongly here, because we can kind of use our psychic powers to becoming spiritually empowered, becoming infinite, and in embodiment. Because technically, our body is a physical object, and I don't mean it as in like objectifying it or anything like that, because of course we are living beings. It's a living object, and it's technically a vessel for the source, and it's a vehicle, it's a tool. So in that way, we can use our psychic powers and our sort of multidimensional embodiment to, again, change the chemical structure of the body, because we are changing the energy that is held in it. But we also have to release some of the old stuff. And that's what things like, say, detoxing or even drinking sage tea, like I do it a lot. I drink sage tea to clear my vehicle and like my immediate energy fields around my body, to clear and cleanse any energy, any stagnant energy, any energy that simply does not belong, and any toxicity and whatnot. So I do that. And of course, lemon water is good for cutting cords. So if you have like cords that are impacting your physical wellness, like if somebody is throwing cords at you and you're getting sick from it, it's a really good idea to drink some lemon water. So that's just some examples. Like, of course, we want to take the energy that we want into the body as well. And when we, for example, exercise, or when we go to the sauna, when we go to the bath or something, when we kind of, when we sweat, that's also when we release a lot of energy, because the sweat is purifying. So you can also think of that as a spiritual process. And your boy has been doing some workouts recently. It's pretty nice. I can see the difference in my body, and it's nice. And I can feel it. It's really nice to feel those muscles growing. And yeah, another thing, we, but speaking to our body with kindness, because our bodies, like I said, they are mostly water, so very observant of emotions. And so therefore the sweating and the detox can also help with releasing emotional energy. So and of course, I'm not a doctor, I'm not any health professional, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist. So of course, follow any advice of professionals first. And yeah, make sure that all of this is safe to do for your body and for your psyche and whatever. I don't know, I'm just like time to keep up with this. There's just a lot of energy going on right now, because it's been really psychically active for me. Or like, how would you even describe it? Spiritually active. And then, like I said, with micropsychokinesis, which is changing the chemical structure of object with psychic powers, is what creates our realities as well. So we can do this in the spiritual realms, in the astral, in the dreams. So if you can totally change the course of events in your... Oh, hi, Glinda, Bluebell Oracle. Hello. So yeah, if we can change the course of events, if we can lucid dream, we can also do powerful things in the physical realms as well. Vice versa. Like I think of my this workout thing that I started to work out just I wanted to, but also there was a reason. But I think that was also kind of a spiritual health check. You know, like I feel like it was uh, also a way in which my guides made sure that I keep myself spiritually strong and not just say mentally strong or emotionally strong, or you know, so that there is also this body is a good vehicle for the source, you know, if that makes sense in the theme. um, and so yeah, we can do things in the physical realm as well, because this is all one. So of course, exploring lucid dreaming, exploring, you know, astral work, and then also on the contrary, because this is all one, we can also try and go the other way around. We can try and do things with our physical body and therefore see what we can actually do in the spiritual realms. I hope that makes sense, because there is just a lot of information, and it is kind of spooky, kind of weird, different, if that's a good word for it. And yeah, since this is all one, just make the conscious decision to merge. And yeah, that's what the multidimensional embodiment is. You ask your higher self or your multidimensional self or your starseed self to merge into the vehicle that you're in now. That's all it takes. And I can say from experience, in the first times, it can feel a bit weird. It can feel a little bit bizarre, but then it starts to feel more natural. And you can also even, like, it's so weird because then you can even see it in the mirror when you go and look yourself in the mirror, and you're just like, yeah, I can kind of see what this higher self or this starseed aspect looks like. It's very interesting. And so yeah, like I said, the macro psychokinesis is about more tangible effects. So say levitation, a moving object, Geller effects, so like bending spoons, like the Pokemon Alakazam, like Sam. Of course, we have to have Pokemon reference here. And then, like, of course, in the astral, we can already do this. So lucid dreaming, again, Wi-Fi going crazy here. Oh, you both have your Wi-Fi going crazy. And then my laptop shows here and there is just like, bad internet connection. Try reconnecting, but then it seems to be okay. I don't know. I hope this will turn out well. If not, I might just have to make another video, but I hope I don't have to, because this has already been like 30 minutes of this really fascinating stuff. And like I said, chemistry is a merge of a substance to create a new form of substance, and quantum physics is a part of chemistry since it's a part of the inner happenings of atoms. And in quantum theory, an electron can be considered like a minute magnetic bar. So furthermore, one can consider spin points of an electron like the north pole of the minute bar. If two proximate electrons are characterized by a similar spin direction, the formation of the magnetic field by them strengthens each other. So yeah, this is again like more on like the kind of scientific side of things that I still wanted to make sure I shared. So the gaining of strong magnetic field takes place. And when we think about this, isn't this a lot like the sort of law of vibration? and law of attraction like attracts like magnetism, right? It is, in my opinion, in my perspective. And if the proximate electrons have an opposite spin direction, the magnetic field that results from them would cancel each other. So therefore, there would not be a magnetic field. Okay, so if we have, say, I mean, in very simplified terms, a low vibration versus high vibration, but I also feel like this would appeal to one person wanting money and the other person is not interested in money at all. So those people would kind of, you know, I don't know if that makes sense. If that's the right way to say it, because it's not that simple. And I feel like there's just a lot more to go into this, because then these two people might have something else that keeps them together, right? Something else that magnetizes them. So yeah, that's kind of what that is. But I guess like a main difference is if there is like a super big vibrational difference between two people. Say somebody is totally brainwashed into the matrix and they live there totally, and then they have absolutely nothing in common with this other person who is like super spiritually awake and super like into smashing the matrix, you know, and like they're on, and then they have nothing in common, absolutely nothing in common. They will be split apart. There will not be any magnetic field between those people. I still need to find a better way to verbalize this, because like I said, it's a bit hard for me to explain this in a way that will make sense. But yeah, I will watch the replay. Things might very erratic just now, lol. Yeah, it's fine. Come back later. And yeah, when the electrons get more energy, they'll travel upwards to the next orbit, the next level. And if there's room at the lower level, the electron may release extra energy and travel to that level. So this again kind of goes into that sort of capacity. Do you have the capacity, the energetic capacity to handle whatever is coming to you? Do you have room? Do you have space? Do you have strength to carry these things? So, and how do you use your energy? Do you use your energy to go horizontally or vertically? I think that's a good thing to keep in mind. So, because up leveling does take energy a lot of the times, like it's rare when it doesn't. And when we don't have the energy, then in some cases, I think it's okay to downgrade and go downwards, you know. If you want to find other ways to again stay in your game, stay on your path, and stuff like that. And there's a natural flow, so there is a natural magnetism in which the magic works. And if you do wish to continue ascending, you must accept that your energetic quotient, has to allow for more expansion. Okay, so like I said in my last Jupiter video, it's important to acknowledge when we haven't had these resources to create these expansive, branching dreams. So we have to just accept the situation and make a decision, and we have to understand what it's going to take. I just hope you all are still seeing me. Like, apparently I'm still live, you know? So yeah. So that's just one thing that that I was talking about there. And then I'm gonna go into the starseed side of things. So let me just double check that my live is okay, because I would not want this to just have a cut off and not showing up. I will put my phone to the other side of the room as well. So I'm just gonna make sure. Yeah, just making sure that we're still all good to go. Yeah, we're still live, which is good. So, okay. Let me see. Are we still good? Yeah, just feel free to say hi in the chat if you're watching. We're moving on to the Starseed Activations. So I just talk about 36 minutes about this sort of more alchemical side of things, what's kind of happening with the embodiment and stuff, and what's kind of happening with physical manifestation, what the nodes are actually doing. And I'm going to move. Hi, Anne. How are you doing? I hope you're well. So now I'm kind of moving more into the starseed side of things. So what type of starseed beings are assisting us throughout this node transit, as well as what type of activations we might have in our own charts. And so so of course, if you have any of these placements, like if you have any of these degrees in your Taurus and Scorpio axis, then that means that you already have this activation in your chart, and it's just going to become more powerful in one way or another throughout this transit. And others, the rest of us, we can of course tap into this energy. It's not like we are completely void of this energy. We can feel it out. We can even try to channel it if we want to, and especially like when planets like, for example, the Sun and Mercury and the Moon are transiting these placements, then we can really quite easily channel and tap into that and become more like aware, more what's the word? I'm not sure what the word is that I'm looking for, but yeah. Damn, wish I knew how to read my chart. Yeah, it's good that you're here. I mean, this video is a little bit more advanced, I guess, but it's good that you're on my channel, because I do have some videos that might help with that. And yeah, I was thinking about also doing kind of like a catch-up video maybe at some point. I can't promise because of the way things are going in my world, but yeah, it might be an idea. Just do like a little catch-up type of astrology reading tutorial thing, because I kind of want to help people go deeper with this stuff. And again, it's my job to help people understand the stars and the planets and everything like that. So yeah, this is all a part of being a star guide. Okay, so first of all, North Node is again about the higher paths and sort of the future destiny and quantum leaps and those type of things. And of course, when I think about, just transit wise, this is the highest path that this part of our chart can take. So that of course applies to kind of everyone, like even if you're not into the starseed part of this, this will still apply to you. This is the highest path and the highest version that this house in your chart can take when the North Node transits, and you will be shown it throughout. Yay, thank you. I love your videos. I'm grateful for the information you share. Oh, you're welcome. And thank you also. Thank you also for saying that. It's nice. It's very cute. Okay. And yeah, so because the nodes go backwards, the nodes are technically retrograde all the time. I'm gonna go from that order, but we're gonna focus on the North Node first. And so the first transit to stars happening is the Pleiadian stars. So there is a cluster of stars around 29 degrees Taurus. So we're already kind of in this. We're already in this kind of like major piece activation. And what also came through is about Earth awakening. Okay, and it's very powerful. I can kind of feel it coming through right now because, like, as you know, I'm connected to my star family and star beings a lot. Um, so yeah, there's some level of like Earth awakening energy and coming more into peace, as well as what other things that I wrote down here is healer's rise, a love wins. And then it's almost like I think I start to hear some music or something because I wrote I hear the music here. Um, so so I'm guessing that might refer to the harmonies of the world, harmonies of the universe. And of course, with all Pleiadian energy, there is also a merge with Lyran energy and yeah, to some extent Vega energy, but I think Lyra is the main one because it's the Lyrans and the Earth Lyrans that are Pleiadians. So some Pleiadians are hybrids. So I think with that we have this very joyful Earth awakening energy, and I'm not sure how much that makes sense to anybody, uh, but my intention is of course to transmit the energy so that you may understand it for yourself, because some of this might not be that easy to understand in this present time because this is very fresh energy. It's just fresh out of the oven, if that makes sense. And I can see a lot of light language activations here as well. Something that might be quite present, might be quite expressive in this moment. Lots of light language activations. 11 degree, that's your sun, Bella. So that's like opposite Uranus. That's so wild. You're going through a time. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure how you feel about that. Do you feel like just revolutionizing everything? Is that what you're feeling possibly? Or is there something else where you might feel resistance to change? Yep. Okay. So then, yeah, I would expect that because Uranus revolutionizes, and depending on like your personality, that can be encouraging or it can be something that you're resisting. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, I feel like yeah, it sounds like to me that you're embracing that, kind of embracing the pressure to change, uh, which is of course a good thing, in my opinion. But some people might disagree with me, and that's okay. Also, congratulations on getting the community feature. Okay, I'll stop interrupting. It's okay. You can talk. It's okay. People can talk here. That's what the live chat is for. Talking. Hi Bella, blah blah blah. Hi. No, I'm going with it. Okay. I shouldn't swear because YouTube might ban me if I swear. I don't like that. Because my midheaven is in Aries, so I'm just like I want to express my Aries. Okay. Yeah, so we covered Pleiades, which was very cool. Okay, and then after that, we have a lot of alignments in the constellation of Perseus, and Perseus is about groups. It's a lot about group dynamics, and to me, this is maybe more on that insectoid energy. more on, say, even soul groups. This could show up in that way, like different soul groups that we might be connected to. And therefore, what came through from this is unifying groups and connecting with those that are working on the same issue. So whether this is solving a negative problems or whether this is a common mission. So again, like an oversoul type of thing where we might have same mission, or like there's many soul groups that might have a similar mission as well. So there can be those type of things going on. And it's a join on the mission, adventure. That's a very strong energy that was here. And it's in the chat, I'm ready for this new adventure. So that's of course good to know. Because the adventure energy is very much encouraged by within the next, let's say this might be in the next month or so, month or two. I should have checked the dates, but I was kind of just like, I need to do this when the sunlight is still present in my flat. And I had to, like I said, I was breathing, kind of having a little breather before this live. Like I had to kind of collect myself before coming on live, and not just like come straight out of bed, and I did wake up. I'm rambling. Okay, let's keep on. let's keep up with the video. Yeah, around 26 degrees, we have a conjunction to the fixed star Algol, which I mentioned in the beginning of this video as the one that's sort of thought of as a little bit more intense. Let's just put it that way. And this is around 26 degrees of Taurus. And again, for those that have any conjunctions there, this can be even more intense. And I also I'm gonna try to show this to you. But this is the symbol that is of Algol. Maybe I might want to put it in my community tab because I now have it. But there's this symbol of, it's like a human that's decapitated, because that's the symbolism of Algol. It's the head that Perseus is carrying. And there are just many myths that say different things about what this head is and like what's going on with it and what the actual story is. But what was given to me is that it shows the tools to win the battles. So when we have whatever these battles are, we can see the higher purpose of that battle. We can see what the end result is, and we can see why it's happening in the first place. And we can therefore see the tools to win the battle. So interestingly, what I'm getting here is like, it's almost like working backwards from the future, if that makes sense. It's like we're seeing that future destiny on a quantum level, on a timeline. We're seeing the timeline wherever it is. And then we're kind of working backwards. Okay, so what does it take to get there? What needs to change in the present, in the now? And that's our tool to shift there. And so then we also have 25 degrees, 24 degrees, and 23 degrees. And then once again at 14 degrees, I'm going to go back to that soon. But until the 23rd degree of Taurus, we're in this Perseus energy. Very bold, very adventurous, courageous energy, and also connective energy. So this is where we're very much connected and unified with other people. So that's that one. And then the next one is the Andromedan energy. So for this specific one, we're starting at 21 degrees of Taurus. Now there's like just a big net of Andromedan energy in the zodiac. So starting at 21 degrees, this is the super metaphysical weird energy that's coming through. Quantum parallels. That already sounds like a sci-fi nerd thing. And this is when we kind of understand what are the parallel worlds, what's the parallel existence, parallel energy. We understand that on a deeper level when we have this Andromedan energy present. And when the truth unfolds, so do the parallels. So when we kind of know the truth of the situation, when we know the truth of whatever timeline, whatever thing we're dealing with, we understand the parallels as well. So that's kind of what's going on with that. And then I was just getting like advanced light technology, and I feel like this is something that has to do with the timelines and time travels and what we've already been talking about here. You know, it's like advanced light technology that allows us to discover just more, I guess, detailed, microscopic ways that our timelines and our quantum worlds, our energetics work. So again, this is when I have to kind of do the whole transmission thing with what this advanced light technology is and what this kind of a quantum parallel thing is, because it's sometimes a bit, complicated to try and explain it. And again, a lot of this has to do with what I was talking about earlier, kind of microscopic things. And that is the advanced light technology, I guess. Really, really weird, I have to be honest. But I love it. I love it that way. So that's kind of a lot of the activations that are coming through the north node in Taurus things. And again, there's the Andromedan activations happen at 21 degrees, 14 degrees, 13, 12, 8, 7, 6, and 0 degrees Taurus. And at 14 degrees, we have a situation where we have both Andromeda and Perseus at the same time. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting space where we're going to feel both of these at once. And I know that also Uranus is going to be there quite soon because Uranus has just gone direct. So that's going to be happening there. And when it comes to that, there is just a lot of this inventive energy. And this might revolutionize our spiritual practice, our spiritual world, and how we're working with these energies. So that's something to keep in mind. And when I think about the sort of both of these coming together, it's just going to bring about a lot of interesting things. Imagine just embodying your mission and embodying all of these ways to understand this, coming into embodiment with these technologies and whatnot. I feel like I'm meant to go into the next thing and not really stay on this one as much. But I'm gonna have to get water because my throat is like, throat is not having fun today. It's been almost an hour. And you know what happens? I will not get spam here. Okay. And then I wrote just a lot of things into the South Node in Scorpio. And so when it comes to the South Node in Scorpio, I've only got like 3 degrees here. Because like there are some other aspects that of course are going to happen, but these are like the main ones. And then I might come back later and share a little bit more about the rest. But as for now, we're looking at Apollonia, which is the fixed star Ptolemy, Alpha Centauri, at 29 degrees. Then we're looking at the Draco at 24 degrees, and Hadar or Beta Centauri at 23 degrees Scorpio. And so those are kind of the main ones that we're looking at for the South Node in Scorpio. I'm noticing that's getting a bit dark. I'm not sure, is it because, again, is it because I'm not that close or what? I'm not sure. And so, yeah, we're starting with Apollonia. And this has to do with, again, because we're talking about the South Node, we're talking about purging things, and we're also talking about past life activations. So we're talking about those type of things. And this is where we also have to be careful that we're not kind of looping. We also want to make sure that we do, in fact, tap into this energy as well, so that we can do the detox, and we can also do the deconditioning and also get the past life activations here as well. And so what I was given by my guides about this energy is that this is about the truth in leadership. This is leaders of light, truth in divine union, steering back to layers of distorted truth. And so the toxic leaders are going down because the truth has been revealed. And then, and you know, when the truth is, like what I was given by my guides is that the light is cast on a dirty corner. That's kind of the effect that this has. It almost feels as if, you know, there is a dirty corner where these people were, and then the light is just cast there. Everything is revealed. And so these beings who have not been maybe leading their lives or leading their communities or whatever, that they are going to be removed from whatever they're doing. And then the new leaders step in, the leaders of light, the people and the beings who work for the highest good of all, of course. And they might need to clean up the mess. So that's something that was also given to me. And in our own lives, we need to, of course, own up to the ways in which we haven't necessarily been working in the healthiest ways. And that is the way we evolve, you know. And we have to live as the leaders of our lives. We cannot give the responsibility of our own lives to somebody else. So we have to stop blaming others for our own shortcomings, you know. We have to stop blaming others for things that were purely our responsibility. And sometimes what's right doesn't feel good. This was interesting to hear. And I feel like it came because sometimes we think that just because something feels good, that's right, that's the right thing to do. And I think it's important to understand here that doesn't mean that we have to just go through a lot of pain, that like the pain is the only gain, you know, like that's not what that means at all. But it's kind of like, for example, when I think about an addict, first of all, they're numbing something that is deeply toxic about themselves, or they're numbing a lot of things. But they also need that hit of dopamine. They consistently need that hit of dopamine. And because we associate dopamine with something that's good, that's why we keep kind of doing these things. But sometimes it's not healthy for us to keep chasing the dopamine, if that makes any sense. And so I feel like that's why that came up. And the other things to know about Apollonians is that it's almost like a healer, and it's a leader, and it's an advocate at the same time. So that's kind of the energies that are embodied in an Apollonian starseed being and the Apollonian energy. And I feel like, my notes are just weird. So I'm just like, what? Because like then what I wrote here is that the past issues for both karmic and current, and what I mean by karmic, this is something from like a past life, some long time ago thing. And then current, which means our current lifetimes, may come back up for those that have aspects to these transits. So that's kind of what's going on more with that. And after this transit, we're going into Draco at 24 degrees. This is again something that's a bit spooky because there's a lot of information about Draco beings and reptilians and stuff like that. And so what came through to me was a purge of so-called negative reptilians. And throughout the last couple of years, I have been getting information about these Draco reptilian beings, both ascending and descending. Okay, so a lot of them are actually ascending, but then there are those that are also descending. So that's how the spiritual process goes for some beings. They just descend. They choose to not ascend. They descend. That's what's kind of happening here. And the next phrase that I wrote down was pretty intense. It's like descending reptilians equals dead. And so I'm not sure how literal that is, but it just feels like there is kind of like a destiny purge type of thing happening when aliens step in. Again, this is when where the information was kind of almost cryptic, like it's a little bit hard to understand at first, because we have also alliances to support higher paths and the removal of distractions. And yeah, I feel like it's just that these entities, different entities that hurt our well-being, will be removed, and whatever that means is what is going to happen. So yeah. And then, of course, those that have taken responsibility of their destructive actions will be rewarded. And this kind of goes back into that, where us as leaders of our own lives, when we take responsibility, that's when we are evolving and we are making a difference. And the wisdom and intelligence of higher Dracos is activating our collective to take ownership of our own poor creations and supports in discarding the destructive patterns. So the Draco energy can be very powerful in overcoming challenging situations because it's very assertive and it's defensive. And also these higher Dracos, the higher council of Dracos, they are very intelligent and they are very wise. And there are these beings, draconian beings, that are working for the highest good of all involved, but some of them are not, like I said. So it's important to know the difference. But I have spoken to some of these beings. Their energy is very intriguing. You know, the sort of higher energy Dracos. And what I was also called to mention here is that Draco energy doesn't equal bad, because yeah, there is just a lot of information about this that just likes to highlight the bad rather than focusing on the full picture and focusing on the fact that in this current Earth, because the planet itself is rising in vibration, some of the Draco beings that have lived here are also choosing to ascend as well. So that's what I was called to mention, because again, if you have this in your chart, it doesn't mean that you're an evil Draco. It just means that you are familiar with the energy, that you know it, that your planet, whatever planet you have connecting with a Draco placement, it just means that you're very aware of that energy in that planet. It just means that that planet is kind of vibing with that. But it can also, like, it depends, it all depends on your path. It all depends on what you choose. Yeah. And of course, with all of the sort of aspects that you have in your chart, that also makes a big difference into how these energies will be showing up in your life, in your chart. And then the last one, which is Hadar, or the Beta Centauri at 23 degrees Scorpio. This one was quite interesting. Okay, so this is about detangling from true unconditional. Oh my god. Detangle for true unconditional love, unbound. And it can be painful, you know, it can be a painful lessons and memories which purge this conditioned unconditional love. Because sometimes we find ourselves in situations where another person or people are operating from conditional or conditioned love. And when it's conditioned love, that's when there's still a chance that it might work. Okay, because it has just been conditioned by something that's been present, that's kind of, I guess, muddied the waters, if that makes sense. But if it's conditional love, that's when there is not much to be salvaged. That's where we need to really understand that either it's unconditional love or unconditioned love. That is true love. That is taking us where it is. And so that's something to keep in mind. And I do keep on seeing stuff on my screen. It's funny. And so one may be more, because like I said, that might be more painful sometimes, because sometimes we find out that, okay, the way in which that person loves us is conditioned or it's conditional. And when it's conditional, it can be more painful versus when it's conditioned. And when it's conditioned, it acts more like a square in astrology. It has a cure. It's a, and there's a possibility to cure it. But when it's conditional, it's maybe more like an opposition, or it's more like something completely different, where it's going to be way harder to salvage that. And when it comes to then the past life connections and stuff, there can be unions because, of course, the Scorpio energy, very bonding, very intimate. So there are some very deep past life connections that can happen with this node transit into 23 degrees of Scorpio. And then there's also the depth of divine love. So divine love in everything. Divine love in individual human connections, divine love in group connections, and divine love in all that is. So the way, of course, the source love, the Christ love comes through us, comes into our beingness when we embody it, when we feel it so deeply. The depth of that divine love goes really deep, and it hits really hard, but in a good way, if that makes sense. It's beautiful and it's intense, but it's lovely. That is divine love sometimes. This has been me almost all week, just crying while doing those meditations, kind of tearing up almost every time. And yeah, this is a lot. I totally understand why people started to drop off, because this is it's very deep. It's quite incredible, and it's also fascinating. And so I don't see anyone in the live chat anymore, but oh, Bella, you're still here. Hello. Yes, it does. Okay, it's good. That's good. It's good that it does make sense, at least in some way, that we're still in live chat. Yeah. So it is beautiful. Oh, thank you. I mean, the divine love, of course. That is so freaking beautiful. It's awesome. And so, yeah, of course, if you have any questions, please ask now before I hop off. I still have some water left, so I can talk for maybe 5 minutes max. I'm feeling this chat on my throat, but I can still go on for a little while if you have any questions. I've been listening. Yeah, that's good. Because I'm just like, nobody's saying anything. But then I'm also, and it's weird because it shows that 0 people are watching this. That's like really weird, but I guess you're still there because you're sending comments. I think it's just the internet connection problems that we're having. And as you can tell, it's getting darker. Because over here in Finland, this time of the year, it starts to get dark around 4-5 o'clock, and we're at 3:43 right now, so getting closer to that time. But it's funny because it doesn't look this dark when I look with my eyes. I'm just trying to breathe in, because I'm wearing my binder. I have a chest binder, and it helps with gender dysphoria. Just a little fun fact. And that's another topic for another time, to talk more about the, again, body as the vehicle for source and for multidimensional embodiment. Do you know how to tell what planet a soul has come from by their placements? That's a good question. What planet a soul has come from by their placement? I think it depends. I think, simply, I say this because we don't know what all of the planets are called in their names. And we can only kind of rely on what different channelers have said about the stuff. So, for example, with the Toliman, the Alpha Centauri star Toliman, people say that this planet is Apollonia. And same with like Hadar, it said that that's the planet of the Beta Centauri. And so we can only rely on that which has been given to us either by our own channelings or what other channelers have come up with. But when it comes to things like, say, for example, our solar system, I think there is a way, like we can say that that's kind of what you have come to this world with, but that's also not the whole story. And there's also so many different techniques. Like, for example, when I was doing some research, I kind of wanted to see like what's already out there when it comes to Starseed Astrology. There, some people use, for example, the heliocentric chart, which I find very fascinating. I haven't really studied that much. But then there's also, of course, in human design, we have 2 astrological birth charts that creates the body graph in human design. And so there's a lot to go into. And I also had like a lot of star alignments in my sort of unconscious side of the chart. So the other one. So there's just a lot of ways that we could find those. And yeah, like you say, Sirius B. Sirius is technically a star. It's like a binary star, so it has like 2 stars that just hang out. Like, let's just say that this is Sirius with this. Oh my god, it's just so dark right now. But like, if these 2 crystals were Sirius, they would just be like, that's how they would be, just hanging out. so yeah, that's how the Sirius star, and also Procyon. There's 2 stars in Procyon, another binary star, and I think there's many more that are like that. And so I feel like, what degree, do you remember what degree your Cancer placements are? On a journey, I had been told that he showed me both A and B, and I was from B in my last life. Ooh, that's super cool. And yeah, that's the thing, Sometimes we can find these things in our journeys, and then we find them in our charts. So, for example, I have 2 Andromedan placements. My Pallas Athena asteroid in Aries is conjunct the vertex star of Andromeda, and then my midheaven is also conjunct a star in Andromeda in Aries. And it's funny because I had just been talking about my Aries placements in the beginning of this video. Like, yeah, 22 degrees. That's a little bit far from Sirius, but I don't say that that's like disqualifying your experience, because I also know that I have plenty of placements that don't show up in my chart. I have also Sirius past life and Sirius multidimensional self, and I don't have a placement for that because Sirius is around like 14, 15 degrees Cancer. So yeah, and yeah, it is beautiful. Okay, and yeah, I think that's. I'm trying to. Did I have something else to share about that? Did we have something else to share about that, or was it all that was? Yeah, I already kind of mentioned, it's we can have aspects to these, and the aspects to these stars can also show how that energy can show up. And so it might not be that conscious if we just say have a square to a star. If we, for example, let's just pretend that I had a square to Sirius, and then I might not be that conscious of that energy, but I might feel rather conflicted about that energy in my life, for example. Yeah, so have I. It's amazing what has been shown to me these last 4 years. Yeah, same. I feel the same. It's kind of wild. It's been a wild last whatever years. I mean, it's 2022. Oh my god. Um, yeah, I guess since I got on this starseed path for myself, it has been very interesting. I remember when my clairs were awakening, and just a while before that, I was a little bit scared of speaking to higher beings, and I don't know why. Because, like, I was already talking to my uncle who had passed away. So, why am I afraid of speaking? Why was I afraid of speaking aliens and of speaking to deities or like some other higher dimensional beings, I guess unicorns and stuff, you know? I think that's what it was mostly about because like I was already speaking to deities and my uncle and you know that type of stuff. But then it wasn't scary at all. And I feel like you know how I was determined ready by my guides was that I had a pretty traumatic experience. And what was going on here was a lot more scary than aliens or unicorns. Why would people be scared of unicorns? I don't know if they're Dorian virtue, then maybe yeah, but like that was so funny. Oh my god, it feels like forever ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. Never would have thought our world was so different than what we believed. Love it, but did have a moment thinking I was losing this shit. Yeah, I know, right? It's so weird sometimes. Earth be weird. Right, and like here's the thing, I was not afraid of this stuff. Even when I was a kid, I was not afraid of ghosts. I was like, I wanted to see a ghost. But then I couldn't. I was just like, hey, why can I not see a ghost? And I feel like it was because, of course, my parents they just don't believe in this stuff. So then I was kind of conditioned to believe that way as well. And then I watched a lot of horror movies and I got scared. But I feel like there's also, that part of it is like don't ask for what you're not ready to hear, right? Like I feel like there was a part of that as well where I maybe was a little bit afraid of some answers that might have come from like some ETs and stuff. Um, but uh, yeah, then it was okay. It was like fine. I've seen spirits all my life. You're blessed. You're so blessed. I mean, I still have a hard time like actually seeing. I mean, I see auras a lot more. Um, I see auras, and like I said, like I see energy move. Like even in when I look at my screen, I've seen stuff move around here because of course, my guides are present, and yeah, so yeah, it's just taken. And of course, I can see this in my chart. Like I'm very spiritually attuned, but I have retrogrades, and I have eighth house Saturn, so it's like I have to work for it to really be activated. And so yeah, it's something that I had to work a little bit more harder to like keep in check and just to keep, you know, I don't know how to work, but yeah, I guess you understand what I mean. I was looking for it, they just showed up. Looking for what? I wasn't. Yeah, me too. Okay. I mean the spirits showed up to you? Is that what you're saying? I don't know how much delay there is in this video. It's like, oh my god, it's like getting so dark in this space. Even though it's not that dark outside or in this space. Like what? Like what? Maybe that's a sign that I should wrap this up. It's not easy being on this planet. I guess sometimes, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Sometimes it's not, but it's something we have to, just live with. And again, like I said in the beginning of the video, like find the balance and come to the middle, understand the blessings that this planet has to offer, and again, let ourselves be spiritual beings having a human experience. Yeah, it's time for me to get some sleep. We'll catch up soon. Yeah, we will. And I'm gonna have to wrap this up as well because it's already been an hour and a half almost. So I'm just like, my throat is like, love to you, Bella. So much love. Hope you're having a good time. And I hope everyone who watches this on replay is okay. And if you have anything to ask, of course, you can leave me a comment below. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I'll be back with another video. I'm planning some astrology classes, some deep dive classes here on YouTube that I want to do live at some point. And I'm gonna put like maybe a little poll in the community tab to see which ones you want to see first. But I want to definitely do the transit one. Next one being the next class, and then I'm gonna ask you guys what you want to hear first after that one. So thanks to everyone who's been watching, who's had patience to watch an hour and a half of me rambling about multidimensional embodiment and star beings and whatnot. And I'll see you very soon. Stay inspiring. Bye.